Tim, should contractors charge for estimates?
I don't believe so personally.
Yeah. What if they're super busy?
Um, I'm not a huge fan of that strategy. I like just the consistency of having one offer and kind of like keeping it fairly consistent in difficult times or like in busy times. Or I just like the idea that you're the company that people can come to if and get that. But it's also like ultimately a really I for different businesses like a remodeler, an interior remodeler, I would say you should absolutely charge for that.
Okay. What if it's something like $45 or $25 for
Yeah.
an estimate, and it comes off the back end when they put the roof on or do the repair? Like just
I
something
w
to get them to have some skin in the game.
I'm curious what your thought is because you're asking this in a way like, I personally don't like it because I know that, like, that would increase the amount of money we're gonna have to like, for instance, if it's Google Ads, it's gonna increase the amount that we're gonna have to spend to get that lead because there's gonna be and really, we're trying to decrease the friction so much for them submitting their contact information, and then we can aggressively go after them as a sales team in a roofing company. But like, I want, I want there to be as little friction as possible from the Google ad to the landing page to the submitted contact form or the phone call. And so I feel like the money number could be. I'd rather see it as like a minimum for we only do like $500 for repairs or like higher or something like that. I'd rather see it as a minimum on the repair side
Oh, we gotta
versus
test
like a
this.
cost per what's that?
We gotta test this.
Yeah.
So so you'd rather them see a minimum of $500 than a $25 free estimate?
Yeah, I just feel like that would slow
I'm not a
people
fan of
down
the
a little bit.
gimmicky stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
$25 or $50 or $100, whatever the estimate
Yeah.
costs.
Tell the people what you think, man. I'm not saying I'm the only guy that knows stuff. You know stuff. What do you
No,
think? Why?
I just love having the conversation, right?
Yeah. What you so you like the charging for estimate thing?
I'm not necessarily saying that with roofing because I don't really have any clients that charge for the estimates, but like for instance, like I charge for consults, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. But I look at that the same way I look at like I have rental property, and there's
Hmm.
what do I do to not have to interview 400 people that want to rent my property? Well, we
Hmm.
do a background check, and then there's an application fee,
Hmm.
and even just that $25 application fee or whatever, right? It vets out a lot of. I think the only reason why I like having this conversation in the context of a roofer
Yeah.
is I see how many times companies have their sales reps running on dead leads that never ever
Yeah.
intended to buy, right? What and that's not specific to leads generated by us or anyone in particular or any marketing channel in particular, but I think that a lot of
Facebook ads. No, just kidding.
it's
Facebook ads.
not Facebook, no. But I think that a lot of guys discount the value of the time of themselves and their salespeople
Mm.
and how much of that is absorbed
Mhm.
and could be saved and spent way more effectively.
Mm.
But I think that it's missed because there's not that attribution, right?
And I mean, people do respect stuff that they pay for. I really do see your point here. People do respect things they pay for
Yeah.
way more. And it's crazy. Like, I do agree that there might be some more, it'd be accurate, more accuracy with the way people think. Cause you should not resent somebody that you come out to for a free estimate if they don't go with you. Like, and that's ultimately like you need to know your close rate and be okay with that and make sure the numbers make sense
Sure. Yeah.
to do that. And I do think that it is a little bit of a bad like there's a little bit of bad mojo around free estimates. And I could see if the industry could evolve. The problem is half the industry would evolve and then the other half would be like, haha, free estimates work even better now.
That's fair, but then again, I mean, so it's situational, right? We can't paint with a broad stroke and say like everybody should or shouldn't do this, and not just
Mhm.
specific to this conversation, but in general. So it's like if you've got a company that is well branded, has been around a long time, and like their biggest challenge is like, okay, how do we just want to be more profitable, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do we do that? All that time, if you've got a sales force of 20 people, and they're consistently running leads and closing at whatever 25, 30. I mean, I get people that tell me they close at 80%. I'm like, okay. Um,
I if that's the case, they're all referrals and they're all from your mom.
not gonna argue with you.
No, okay. That's awesome. I mean,
But I'm gonna have the conversation. Don't expect to close 80% of the Google
yeah,
ad leads that come to you.
like 20 to 30 on average or something like that. Yeah.
Like kudos. Yeah. So I guess like again, it comes back to the value of time, and I think a lot of times it's overlooked as far as like how many dollars could be generated if this person's not going here, even if they're running less.
So
Like,
part of the reason I can understand that, and I think different parts of the times and maturity of your business may call for something like this. I'm not sure. I do know that none of the larger roofing companies seem to be doing it, and there must be a reason. They're not idiots. That doesn't always mean that they're the best and the smartest because they're large. There's small giants, there's small businesses that are making really good money, and it's one guy. So, like, I'm not mad at you. Like, if you tried different things, I personally feel like if I was a roofing company owner, I would want that all to be handled automatically for me. You know what I mean? Like, I would want to not ever have to like send an invoice and collect on that payment because there's a lot of time and energy that goes into receivables.
yeah,
And I don't want to waste my people's time on a $250 check
right.
and getting that check and putting that in the bank or even just like sending that invoice. I don't want to spend $250. I don't want to spend money and time and process on sending small invoices.
Two things. Completely agree. By the way, so one would be we'd be getting from more qualified customers in theory, and they would
Yes.
close at the same, if not a higher rate, because they're more qualified customers.
Which that's valuable. Like you're right. The value is in the less time spent on the salesperson's time. So I agree with you.
And then the second thing is right. It's just like the like review automation or any other automation, right? We can simply put it into once it moves from lead to estimate given or appointment held, we can simply automate a text link that they can pay to make it seamless.
I could see that being very useful. So I'll give you that one.
Gun to my
Uh,
head, if I had a roofing company that I started right now, I wouldn't charge for estimates. To be clear,
yes. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, I think it's a
I
good
just
kind of
enjoy the
experimental,
conversation of it. Yeah,
but it's a fun conversation. I think a lot of roofing companies. I mean, I was at RoofCon and they were talking about this, and like somebody came out with a very like opinionated they thought for sure you should, and that was the future. And I was like, are you from our industry? Because I think people have tried this. I mean, I just think it's a good idea, and I'd like to, it would be a better screenplay than an actual. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I actually like it as a thought, and I think somebody's going to try it and make it good. I think the details around it are going to matter a lot. Like you're saying, like if there's automatic payments or an automatic, like if they for sure schedule it, it just the invoice happens automatically or something. I just don't want my team sending $100 invoices. Basically,
right. Yeah.
it's kind of a weird thing to say, and I'm not trying to be like weird. It's just ultimately that's time and effort to do that
It
stuff
would be
too.
counterintuitive, right? Because the whole reason that you would there would be risk involved charging for estimates, right? So the whole reason that you would risk that is to eliminate the dead time that's invested in chasing around leads that weren't
Yes.
never going to
Yes.
convert, right? So to take that time to be sending out $100 invoices
Mm.
doesn't help the cause. So it makes
No,
sense.
you're absolutely right. Like if you could find a way to do that well, I certainly think there will be people that experiment with it and probably have some wins. I think letting people like pay for things that actually are valuable is a ultimately an honorable direction to try to see if if there is a way to do it well. So if you figure it out, I'm curious and I'm watching, and I think I'm sure somebody will be checking this out, especially if you're flush with leads and you have low staff.
What should people do when they have more leads? We'll talk about it on the next one.
Yeah, I've got to get to a chat, another chat here, but I like that as a next video. So if
Coming soon.
Michael and I do a video soon, we might talk about what you should do with more leads. If you have too many leads, and also that just might go out on Michael. That will probably go out on Michael's YouTube channel in the next week. So check it out. What is your YouTube channel? Ascend
That
Digital
digital agency. Yep.
Agency. Check it out on YouTube and subscribe to his, because he's just like we're trying to put out regular awesome content. Michael is I've already watched a few of his videos. They're really good, and he's a super smart dude. So check those out. I really just want to commend you for being an ethical player that's trying to do your best by roofing companies in the space. And I really appreciate you chatting with me today.